Hey there, Middle Earth strategy battle gamers. So I'm here with a review on the War in the North supplement. So this is my supplement that I'm covering, a lot on the channel. You can look through our videos and see that I've been covering it since early 2020. And this is a review of the book. So I got it. I've kind of flipped through it. There's some really cool scenarios in here. Especially like the appendices, which I figured there'd be a pretty in-depth appendices section. So I'm going to go and start in by talking about the new profiles. So I'm going to start. So there's a campaign that starts at the crossing of the River Carnan. It goes to the second scenario will be the host clash, Death of Brand, Dane the Last Stand, Retreat to Erebor, Siege of Erebor, the Tide's Turn, and then there's a separate campaign for the defense of Mirkwood and the assault on Lothlorien. So there's three separate things. So I'm going to go into the armies. I just figured I should cover that real fast. So the first army that is in this book is called the Garrison of Dale, which is a similar name to the, I think it's the same name that was in the Armies of the Shire, or Armies of the Hobbit, sorry. So the first profile that's in the Garrison of Dale is Brand, King of Dale. So he's a pretty hefty points cost. He's just a tad bit more than Théoden. He has a 12-inch steadfast. He has the that's called Lord of Dale. That is his 12-inch steadfast. He has something called Stoic Fighter. At the start of the fight involving Brand, check to see if the model would be trapped. Should his sides lose the duel, then exception of his friendly models can make way for Brand. If Brand would be trapped, he may reroll a single d6 to win the duel. So that's pretty good. If he's trapped in dire straits, he can reroll one of his dice in that fight. His son, he's a hero legend, by the way. Brand is. So his son is Bard the Second. He is again. I'm trying to compare him to similar heroes. He's similar to Aemir in points, and I think kind of the role he'll play in your army. He's a hero of valor. He has a good stat line. Heroic strike, heroic resolve, heroic defense. Brand has heroic strike, strength, and resolve. So then he has the wall of blades. The model may gain a +1 to wound when making strikes with their spears against the model that charged them this turn. So in a way, I think that not getting priority would be pretty good for models like Bard the Second and the Knights of Dale. Speaking of the Knights of Dale, Knights of Dale are the equivalent of Rohan Royal Guard, pretty much in terms of stat line. They have a little bit better. They have a higher courage value. They're courage 4. Points wise, they're the same as the Royal Guard. They don't have bodyguard though, so that might be where their drawback would be. They're equipped with heavy armor, spear, sword, and shield, and they also have the same wall of blades that Bard the Second has. So I see them being a pretty good elite unit. Honestly, I would say maybe a warband's worth of them in the list would probably be pretty keen. Or if I was to make a Dale list, I'd be keen on having a warband worth. So then there is another option. It is a wind lance. So this is a relatively expensive model in terms of points. It's not as expensive as a Iron Hills Ballista, but it's a little bit more expensive than a Avenger Bolt Thrower. So the Windlance is a small siege weapon. It's crewed by 2 warriors of Dale, armor, sword. One of these is automatically the siege veteran. All siege members have Dale men infantry keywords. A Windlance has superior construction upgrade. And then you can upgrade to then like veteran, then engineer, and you can add additional crew. It has the accurate special rule, so it only scatters 3 inches. So that's pretty cool. There, I think these are battle company lists. So there's a new battle company list for all of the factions in this book, as far as I can tell. Okay, then there's Erebor Reclaimed. Erebor Reclaimed has Dane Ironfoot, King Under the Mountain. He's cheaper than his regular Lord of the Iron Hills profile. He has 1 fate. He has heavy dwarf armor, and he has his master forged hand and half axe. I'm not going to try and pronounce it. It's a crazy dwarf word. He has heroic resolve, strike, strength, and challenge. He has the fearless special rule. He has the venerable special rule, which is a nod to his original profile back in like 2006 or whenever the kind of War in the North supplement came out then. So basically, if he makes a climb, leap, or jump test, he has to roll 2 dice and pick the lowest result. Then he has King Under the Mountain. Friendly dwarf, keyword models, including hero models, will benefit from Dane's Steadfast regardless of range. So that's really cool. And then there's Thorin III Stonehelm. He is Aemir points. I think he's the same actually as Bard II points wise. Let me do a double check here. No, he's a little bit more, just a few more points. So he is fight 6, strength 4, defense 8, 3 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 6, 3 might, 3 will, 3 fate. So he is equipped with heavy armor, shield, hand and half pick. Okay. He has heroic strike, strength, and defense. He has the cool-headed special rule. This one's good. A heroic action, roll a d6 on a 5+, no might is spent, and the heroic action is free. Additionally, Thorin declares a heroic action, and an enemy model subsequently declares a heroic action. Thorin may choose to change the type of heroic action he's declared. So this is a really big deal. So, like, I know, like, when you're playing a friendly game with your friends, and when you're playing in a tournament, depending on who you're versing, let's say, like, you don't have priority, you don't have priority, your opponent does. I'm going to call a heroic strike with Thorin. Then your opponent says, okay, well, I'm not going to call anything. Then you can change that, but okay, well, in that case, I'll call heroic combat with Thorin. So that's a really cool rule that adds a unique tool into that list. Okay, so on to Lothlorien. So Lothlorien did gain a profile. I believe that their army bonus is the same, but they gained a profile Orphan. I believe he in the books is Halladir's brothers, one of Halladir's brothers. So he knows heroic strength. He's fight 6, strength 4, defense 6, 3 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 6. He's a 3-1-1. He is points wise, he's not too expensive. He's similar to Halladir and other Lothlorien, smaller tier Lothlorien characters. So he has heavy armor and 2 elven made swords. Orphan rolls 1 or more natural 6s when making a dual roll. Then any dice that rolls a natural 6 will make double the number of strikes. So when rolling to wound, note that strikes doubled in this will not double against the model Orphan is fighting is trapped. Okay, that's a really cool rule though. I have a surprise. I figured we'd see a new Lothlorien profile. I haven't done a deep dive yet, but there's one thing I'm really curious about, so that's cool. Orphan. Okay, Halls of Thranduil. I don't see anything different. Legolas, Greenleaf, Tariel, So pretty much all the main players are still there. The army bonuses look the same. Okay, so now here's the big one. This is one that I didn't foresee. So there's an army called the Bayernings. The Bayernings is a big deal to me because this is one that I did not, I didn't anticipate them doing this. So the army composition is Bayonne, Grim Bayonne, and Bayernings. Grim Bayonne is the exact same point cost as Bayonne. Pretty much the same stat line as Bayonne, except he only has fight 5. He is fearless, burly, resistant to magic. He has the skin changer rule, so on a 4+, he can change into the bear form. He is leader of the Bayernings, so only bear or Bayerning models may benefit from Bayonne's heroic actions or steadfasts. Okay, Grim Bayern's historical allies with Halls of Thranduil, as long as the army contains Thranduil. He's a convenient ally with Dead of Dunharrow. It's a long list of pretty much their army, and then he is impossible allies. He is a hero of valor. So then, bear form, he's identical except -1 to his fight value to Bayonne. He knows heroic strike, strength, and defense. And Grim Bayonne, when he's not in bear form, has a 1.5 axe and a great bow. So here's another big one. So the Bayerning Profiles. These guys are absolute hammers. I kind of glanced at their profile earlier. So they're fight 5, strength 4, defense 4, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 5. They have 1.5 axes and daggers. They have burly and woodland creature. They have the followers of the bear. While within 6 inches of friendly bear models, so that could be Bayonne or Grim Bayonne, they count as being under a banner. And then you can swap their 1.5 weapons for great bows. And then Bayernings may be included in Grim Bayonne's warband. So that's really cool. I foresee a list coming up, and I'll get into that later when I get into Legendary Legions. So we're now into the Easterlings. The Easterlings have a lot of stuff. So I'm actually going to start, I'm not going to start with the Dragon Emperor. I'm going to start from the back because the Dragon Emperor is going to take me a while. But they have a new unit that hasn't been announced or no model's been released for it yet called the Roonish Wardrake. It's a pretty hefty points cost for a troop. It has terror, it has venom, it has slow acting venom, so any model that suffers a wound from the Roonish Wardrake but is not slain reduces their fight value and attacks by 1 to a minimum of 1 for the remainder of the game. Once an enemy model has been affected by the special rule, it cannot be affected again for the remainder of the game, even if it's wounded by a different Roonish Wardrake. So that's pretty gnarly. I can see this relatively cheap troop. I mean, I didn't realize what it can do when I just for its points, but you can take a hero like Gilgalad or Treebeard or even Bayonne or Dane, and you can make their stats get withered away throughout the games. That's a really good rule to have, especially for models in this supplement with heroes like Grim Bayonne or Thranduil or Dane, who are going to outfight pretty much all the evil models. So stat-wise, they're fight 4, strength 4, defense 5, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, and their courage 4. They count as keywords Drake, Infantry, and Warrior. So they're probably going to be a relatively small model because they don't have Draganic Charge, so they'll probably be a relatively small for a dragon at least. Okay, so now we have the dragon called Acolytes. These models are fight 4, strength 3, defense 4, 2 attacks, 1 wound, and their courage 4. They have armor, throwing daggers, and 2 swords. They have the unyielding combat stance, which I believe is on a 4+, they can ignore getting knocked prone, I think like from cavalry and stuff, or Nature's Wrath. And And then they get a bonus, a +2 to jump, leap, and climb. It's called Supreme Agility. Okay, so we have Rutabi of the Black Dragon Legion. So Rutabi is actually a woman. Keyword Easterling Infantry Hero. Heroes of Valor. And I think I've been referring to Rutabi as a he, so I did not know that. Rutabi knows Heroic Strike, Heroic Challenge, Master of Battle on a 3+, unyielding combat stance. Has the Phalanx special rule. Models can use pikes and shields at the same time without penalty. Furthermore, Easterling models on foot with this special rule lose a duel on up to 2 models may make way. So that's really good. I think that's why Easterling phalanxes are a pretty solid pick. When making strikes against enemies, this is called Show No Mercy, the special rule. When making strikes against an enemy model that is trapped, Rutabi may re-roll failed to wounds rolls. It's pretty good. Rutabi's the same points cost. I mean, all the heroes in this supplement so far, and even the troops, are pretty similar in points, which I think will be a very balanced kind of experience. Okay, so now we're into Brogir, the Conjurer. Brogir is 2 might, 5 will, 2 fate, fight 3, strength 3, defense 5, 1 attack, 2 wounds, courage 4. So pretty much a beefy shaman profile. Brogir knows heroic channeling. Sorcerer Adept. Each time Brogir rolls a natural 6 when making casting tests, he will regain a single will point after resolving the effect of the magic power. So that's cool. It's like the reversed opposite. When you're resisting and you roll a natural 6, then you get the will back in your store. So Rutabi knows Blade Wrath, 12-inch range, cast on 2+, Fury for Easterlings, 6-inch range, cast on 3+, Enchanted Blades, 12-inch range on a 4+, and Tremor, 6-inch range on a 5+. So Brogir has a pretty good stat line for magic spells, some pretty good offensive, and ones that can buff your heroes. Okay, so now we're on the big boy. This is 2 pages of rules, so you'll have to bear with me. This is the Dragon Emperor of Rune. Dragon Emperor of Rune is a rather expensive model. I don't think he takes upgrades, so he comes based on the Palanquin. But his war gear is heavy armor, the Emperor's Glaive, Helm of the Dragon Emperor, and the Royal Palanquin. His stat line is fight 6, strength 4, defense 7, 3 attacks, 3 wounds, courage 6, 3 might, 3 will, 3 fate. So he's a very good, he is a hero of legend. So I think this kind of answers a lot of questions, because I know that there are a lot of people, when armies of Lord of the Rings came out and they saw that Amdur was a hero of valor. So I think this kind of answers that. This fills that hero of legend slot. And this guy is an absolute mauler. That stat line's really good. And then all these buffs and bonuses that I'm about to mention, I think make this guy almost a must include into an Easterling army. So, the Dragon Emperor of Rune and his Palanquin count as a single model for the purpose of working out a force breakpoint. Emperor's Glaive. So here's the special rule for the Emperor's Glaive. This is a elven-made spear that may be used the feint special rule. Additionally, the bearer may use the shielding special rule. Even though they do not have a shield, the Dragon Emperor of Rune may not support while mounted upon his Palanquin. The Dragon Helm. The Dragon Helm of the Emperor may give him resistance to magic special rule. That's a good rule for a big boy to have. So that way a cheeky transfix won't be able to stun him in place. He has the Phalanx special rule. Again, you can put him in the center of your pike line and just have guys. Well, I guess you couldn't technically because he's on a bigger base, but it's a good special rule nonetheless. Probably would help him from getting trapped. So the Emperor of the Easterling special rule. Friendly Easterling models will benefit from the Dragon Emperor's steadfast regardless of the range, and it also affects Easterling heroes. That's really good. I don't really see the Easterlings having a problem with breaking and steadfast at this point. With the Dragon Emperor and the amount of fury you can take, I think that after the force breaks, they should be pretty good. Which I don't know if they ever had a problem with being broken. I know certain forces do. Okay, so the Royal Palanquin. It's move 6, fight 4, strength 3, defense 6. Its attacks are asterisked out. 6 wounds, courage 4. So it's going to be pretty beefy to take down defense 6 and 6 wounds. So the Royal Palanquin is carried by 6 black dragons. Each is armed with a shield and sword. The black dragons do not take up any spaces in the Dragon Emperor's warband. So that's good. He can take 18 guys plus the 6 in his warband, or plus the 6 that's carrying his Palanquin. But he does count as one model for breaking. So this model, this is a mount for the Dragon Emperor of Rune. However, it does not act like a normal cavalry model, and therefore will confer the cavalry keyword. It will not confer the cavalry keyword to the Dragon Emperor. Instead, it will be treated as if it was an infantry model. So basically, I think it's just saying for like rolling shooting attacks and stuff like that, it would be counted as a mount, basically. So he's basically the Golden King, the way he operates. Okay, so while the Palanquin has 3 or more models remaining, or 3 or more wounds remaining, it moves its normal. If it's reduced to 2 wounds, it moves its reduced value to 3. If there only is 1 wound remaining, then it cannot move at all. When the Palanquin is hit by a shooting attack, the shooter must take an in the way test to determine whether the Dragon Emperor or the Palanquin. On a 1 through 4, the Palanquin is hit. On a 5+, the Dragon Emperor is hit. If the Dragon Emperor dismounts from the Royal Palanquin for any reason or is slain riding the Palanquin, replace the Palanquin with the number of black dragons equal to the number of wounds it had remaining. They do not need to make a courage test to see if they flee. These models, along with the Dragon Emperor, should be placed within the footprint of the Palanquin. Unlike other mounts, the Dragon Emperor does not use any other characteristics of the Palanquin. Instead, always uses his own characteristics, even if one of the Palanquins is better. Okay. The Dragon Emperor wins a dual roll except when shielding, and additionally to his own strikes, the Palanquin may make a number of strikes equal to its remaining wounds. The strikes are always resolved after those of the Dragon Emperor and cannot make special strikes. The Palanquin cannot be knocked prone for any reason, for the exception of a direct hit by a siege weapon. So basically, call winds, and then below it says hurling. The Palanquin, in a model riding it, cannot be affected by hurl, barge, power attacks. Additionally, the Royal Palanquin cannot be moved by Sorcerer's Blast or Call Winds, though will still suffer any effects if applicable. So, I think that taking Brogir, the War Priest, and doing Blade Wrath on the Palanquin itself, I'm not sure, if this is a thing yet. And then, because your characteristics are going to be Strength 3, so if you do Blade Wrath on the Palanquin, you're talking about Strength 6 hits. That's pretty gnarly. Okay, so then there are some more special rules. So, Standard of the Emperor. The Royal Palanquin is a banner with a range of 12 inches, and these banners are attached to the Palanquin itself, the Dragon Emperor of Rune. And the Black Dragons do not take the -1 for carrying the banner. And then, friendly Easterling Warrior keyword, models within 6 inches of the Royal Palanquin, who can draw line of sight to it, gain a +1 to their fight value. Boy, okay, so that's a lot of reading. So this guy is an absolute monstrosity. You're talking about making your Black Dragon upgraded guys fight 5 if he's within 6 inches. Not to mention giving a banner bonus. I mean, that alone is awesome. And then everything else is like this guy, like I said, I just see him being auto-included in an Easterling army. I mean, he is rather chunky in points, but he's no more expensive than Kamol on a Fell Beast, so that's all the Easterling profile. So there are rules for Black Dragons and Easterlings for battle companies. Okay. So we're on to Mordor. Mordor got 2 new profiles. They got Razgush, War Leader of the North. He is the exact same points as the other mid-tier heroes in this list, in this book, sorry. He himself is fight 5, he's strength 4, defense 7, 3 attacks, 3 wounds, courage 5, 3 might, 3 will, 1 fate. So he keeps the trend of orc heroes with 1 fate. He has 3 wounds, which is pretty beefy. So he's a hero of valor. He has the Bonebreaker special role. Bonebreaker is the name of his weapon, sorry. So he has heavy armor, Bonebreaker, and a shield. Bonebreaker is a mace. Additionally, enemy models do not receive any bonus for elven-made weapons when fighting against Razgush. That's really good. He has Elfbane, Hatred, the Elf, Beast of Mirkwood, Orc Captain. In the same army as Razgush may include bat swarms, Mirkwood spiders, giant spiders, and fell wargs in their warband. As if they were in the Mordor list. That's good. That's really good. It makes the Mordor list even bigger, as if it needed that. But no, I see that being pretty good. It's very thematic for the supplement. So we have Musker, the Shaman. He's actually a pretty cheap character so far for this supplement. He's fight 4, strength 4, defense 5, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 4, 2 might, 4 will, 1 fate. He has armor, dagger, and spear. He has heroic defense, heroic channeling. Power from death. Whenever Musker slays an enemy model in combat, he immediately regains a single point of will. That's really good. So you basically... There are some guys that have special rules, but you have to kill a hero, or you have to kill a monster, or multiple wounded model to get the point of will back, or whatever. Nope. Oh, you're playing Hobbits or Goblin Town? No problem. He himself has Drain Courage, which is a really good special rule for Mordor to have. Wither, again, really good. And Transfix, which is good, but I see him being a pretty good pick. I think he would do pretty good with bigger heroes in terms of Withering or Draining Courage, or I kind of see him being good in a Mordor army. I don't know, because Borogir seems like Borogir has a lot of spells that would buff the Black Dragon Emperor, so I'm not sure if Musker would be a good pick to ally with Easterlings. Might look good as a standalone character in a Mordor list, though. Denizens of Mirkwood, but there are no new profiles. So we're on to the Legendary Legions.